All right, we are live now.
Okay. Does anybody wanna? Sorry about the technical problems. I apologize. Um, does anyone wanna start off with a prayer?
I can say it if you want. Okay. All right. Our Heavenly Father, we are grateful for this good day to be gathered as classmates to discuss this case, and we are grateful for the blessing of this great university, and we are grateful for thy guidance in our lives, and please us that we will be able to feel thy spirit during this meeting, and please us that we will be able to be blessed in our personal lives, and please us that we'll be able to be guided as we need to, and we love thee and we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. All right. Let's get started. So, that case about it, but that was just a lot of reading for me.
Yeah.
So, it was a good one too. So it talked about they were looking for a new analyst, and they had quite a few um candidates, but yeah, there was still a hard decision that Stephen had to make when it came to picking somebody. So, um, what are the what are some of the pros and cons of for each of the candidates that were interviewed?
So the candidate who I think it was the woman. I think it was the last one they talked about. I think her name was Sonia or something like that. Um, I I thought overall she did really well in the interview. She seemed like she was very knowledgeable about the field of being an analyst. I mean, she worked at a smaller firm and she has kids at home, so I guess those would be like maybe some cons against her. That and she asked if she would be able to work from home at times, which I mean, I think they said that they would be willing to work with her, but it probably was a disadvantage for her. But overall, I thought she was very knowledgeable and it talked and she didn't ask about compensation until the very end of the interview, which I think shows that she really um, um, cares about the job and is more interested in what she'll be doing and the opportunities that are there for her as opposed to just the money.
Yeah, I thought I liked Sonia too. I did not. I think she has so many good aspects about her. I think that her not being able to travel as much. I feel like they should be able to work with that, especially since she's made it work with like her conference calls and stuff. One candidate who I think should be tossed out right now is Gerald Baum.
Yeah.
I just couldn't stand reading about it. I was like, why do they still have him in the running? I mean, he didn't get along with any of his staff. He asked about compensation right away. I mean, he was 15 minutes late to the interview. I I don't think where they like treasure their company culture so much. I don't think Gerald would be a good fit at all. I mean, his assistant wasn't even willing to come to the interview with him. So
Yeah, I have to agree with you that that Gerald is an immediate no-go for me. I mean, I realize we're talking about New York City salaries, but when you're talking about a senior analyst making upwards of 700 to well into the $1 million, and you can't show up on time for an interview, I mean, it just shows the lack of, well, I think it shows a lot of things, but it maybe even shows just a lack of overall interest in switching companies, and that to me is an immediate disqualifier. Sonia was also my number one. I feel sorry for Rhea, but I just feel like if in the case study she would have shown, I mean, it's clearly that she's doing fine. She's kind of in this nice stopgap, but she didn't push to make herself known and show just, you know, how important she had been over these last few weeks or months or however long this took. But I feel bad for her because she has been there for 3 years, which I think is enough time for her to really be considered for this position. She already knows the company culture. She's aware of all the players in the company. So she has a lot of internal advantages going her way, but overall I just felt like both Bryce and Casey, I think that Sonia is the way to go.
Yeah, I'll just add kind of the pros and cons to Sonya as well. I really liked her too. The one thing that I'll just add to what you guys have been saying is that I think that she could work well with Rena, you know, the girl already there. And the other guys, I think would kind of, if Rena even stayed there, I think they would kind of just step over her and not treat her as good. Maybe not the old guy. I forgot his name. I think it was David. But yeah, I think the old guy would treat her pretty good, but everyone else would just kind of step over her. And I think that Rena would even be okay with stepping down to junior again because she's going to love Sonia so much. I'm probably assuming a lot, but I just think they'd be an awesome team.
I think too, the candidate Seth Horkham, his personality kind of drives me a little. I don't know. His personality was kind of annoying to me. He just self-described himself as a star and had complaints about like the copy. I think was it him the copy or just little complaints? And then he was mad about sharing his assistant with like 2 or 3 other people, and Sonia was sharing her assistant with 4 people and didn't even complain about it. So there's him too. Are you there, Michaela?
Yeah, I have to agree. I was reading through some of them, and I'm like, I didn't even want to finish it because I couldn't even stand what they were saying. But I agree that I did like Sonia, but they were just going at her, the nitpicking at her qualities towards the end. But some of those, my thing was like, in order for them to be up there, they gotta at least have some experience with that. So, I mean, a pro in her for the future, if they picked her, would be, for her to get the experience, for them to work with her. So, I think we answered the second question, you hire and why. So I think we would all kind of go with Sonia. And we explain our reasons. Oh, I have to share this. Oh boy.
I guess I have a little more to say. Is David the older gentleman? Was that right? See, I thought David was probably a close second for me. Couple of reasons. I think that David could be a real good mentor for Rhea, and then they could do that growth. Doesn't help that like the head guy or the guy above the guy hiring, I really should write down names for this. Anyway, that he does not like Rhea at all. So it might always be hard to convince him, but if David was given the position, he could really mentor her. Obviously, his horizon for how long he would be at the company is limited, I think. And so he could really prepare her, use his skills and the foundation that he has and the contacts. And so he might be a good person to come in and just get, 5, 6 more years, 7 more years, 10 more years out of him, and then Rhea could just really be prepared for the next round. I'll just throw his hat in there.
I agree with that. I think that was a really good thought.
Okay. So in the thing is has alright, this is kind of small. The candidates and their current salary, and then what their salary at the company would be, and then the multiplier over Rena's salary. So David was the highest. He had 1.3 million for his current, and then the salary at RHS is 1.5, which that's 5 times the salary of Rena's, which I think is pretty good. And Gerald's was 0.9 million for current, 1.2 if he was at the company, and that's 4 times Rena's. Seth is 0.7 million as current, and his salary at RHS or RSH is 1.0 million, and that's 3 times. Sonia's is 0.4 for current, at RSH is 0.7, and that's 2 times Rena's, and Rena's is 0.3 for both. So I guess that, oh, sorry. So after that, I might have to read that again. After those numbers, which person would you decide? Oh my goodness. Would you change your mind about who you would hire, or would you stay with the person of your choosing?
I think I
I
would
need to go
probably
over
stay with
numbers
my.
again. I can.
Let's see. Sonia was making 0.4 and then was switched to 0.7, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I wrote it all down. Yeah.
Okay. So that seems like for her, she seems like a huge asset to the company, and they don't have to pay nearly as much as they would with some of the other candidates. So I'd probably stick with that. It seemed like David Hughes would be a great candidate, but I think, was he the most expensive?
Yeah, he was 1.5.
So, I mean, that comes with his experience. And, like Ben said, he's not going to be there for a while. And so maybe they could afford to, hire him and pay him that much just so that he could train Rena.
Yeah, I guess the pricing, the salaries don't really sway my opinion anymore, just because I think I was already on voting for Sonia. So, yeah, with David being the highest, like Casey said, I don't see it being a huge issue because it's not a salary you're going to carry for 30 years, and it increases exponentially in a certain amount each year. So I still think David's a solid number 2. We've already eliminated Mr. Baum, whatever. So he could be worth $1 for all I care.
Yes, yeah, same with me. I think I would. But yeah, the money doesn't really sway me either. I like Sonia. I think like what Casey said, she would be a huge asset to the company. She would save them a lot of money by not having to pay as much as the three other guys. And I think personally she would do probably a better job than any of the other guys overall. I mean, she might not be as experienced, but I think it seems like she would probably work better with the team. And because the case study talked a lot about how they're like it's very team oriented, and so it seems to me that she would work really well with the team. And she talked a lot about her interest in global networking and stuff like that, which could expand their business opportunities. And so I just think Sonia would be a huge benefit to the company, more so than the rest of the people.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sticking with Sonia. It's even better now that she's the least expensive, so she's awesome.
Yeah, I would stick with her too uh, because of those qualities, and then if she does get the chance to, because she was the one that wanted to work from home, they're not paying her as much, um, so she can still work from home and spend time with her family and stuff. Um, okay. Should Steven give Rena a permanent offer or hire outside the company?
I can talk on this. I actually think that my second option would be keeping Rena on board. I like her, and like he like checked up on her. She was like on top of it, and she's been learning from Peter, you for these past years, and so she like knows kind of what works from watching him. Sure, it hasn't been kind of first-hand experience because she's been the junior. I don't know how I don't market very well, but yeah, I think that keeping Rena would be a really good decision. I don't think I think Sonia is still the best, but I could really.
I want to be swayed by your points, Jared, but I'm a big fan. I think I've told you guys this. I worked in the hospitality industry for nearly 20 years, and whenever I had a management position that was opened or a supervisor position that was open, I really did want to build from the team I already had. I was never afraid of training team members to excel and be the best, and if they became my boss, so be it. That didn't bother me because I wanted to have the most engaged employees. But that's where my problem is with Rena, is she had an opportunity. There was this brief conversation that she had with that hiring manager, and I just felt that she thought things like, hey, I could say this, but then what she actually said was, okay, well then just keep me posted. And that does not, for me, show the initiative that I need for there to be a manager, or in this case study, a senior analyst. So while she has, and I talked about this, she has the culture component, she's got the kind of the inside the company feel and relationships, which are great, and she's done well in kind of being this Band-Aid while Mr. Thompson left, or after Mr. Thompson left. I just think that, unfortunately, without seeing how much she wants it, I have to just put her third on my list.
Yeah, I kind of agree with, I don't know, both of you. Um, it seemed so I from the case study, it seemed like Stephen was kind of undermining her confidence a little bit. Especially when he was like, if I don't find someone more senior who I think will work, then I'll give you the position. Like he wasn't really giving her a lot of leeway to, like he wasn't building her confidence at all. I also think about the book that we've been reading, and in it, he talks about a lot about the book Good to Great. Yeah, and a lot of the qualities of great leaders are, not trampling over other people and kind of having that humble personality, which I feel like she does. So I feel like she could probably do well with it. But I do like David and Sonia better.
So my take on it was I felt like the company. It talked about how rarely this incident occurred of Peter Thompson just up and leaving the company. It talked about how that rarely happens and people like make lifelong careers in this company. And so I think the company, the company was not prepared for this, and because of that, it. I mean, I don't know this, but didn't really seem like Rena and other junior analysts had a ton of like training, like senior analyst type training. And I feel like if the company had prepared I feel like if the company regularly has junior analysts do training or senior analyst type work, they might be more prepared. And I think that if that was the case, Rena could have been prepared to take on the senior analyst position, and instead the company is kind of panicking and then kind of, in my opinion, wasting resources and time looking for someone else when I think Rena could have definitely stepped up to be senior analyst. And really, I think she could have even done it even in this situation that was in the case study. I mean, we don't get a lot of info about Rena. It doesn't talk about her very much. We know that um, Connor's boss didn't like Rena. He said something like, "You either have it or you don't," which I don't think I really agree with. I think if Reno seemed to be doing a good job from the time she stepped in, and I think she probably would have learned pretty quickly on the job. And I think ultimately, I think they could have kept her, and she would probably do well as a senior analyst. But out of all of the, I mean, because they did find everyone, or they did go interview, and I think Sonia would probably be a better fit right now. But my point is, I think they could have kept Rena and not even had to go find anyone else. But that's just my take on it.
No, I agree. I think Rena has a lot of those positives that you're talking about. You brought up an interesting point, and it's one of my problems that I found is if this semiconductor senior analyst and this whole department is so valuable to this company, why did you only have either one senior analyst, or why didn't you make sure that junior analyst was basically just a step below your senior analyst? So if something happened that's sure out of the ordinary or unexpected, you at least had someone there ready to completely fill in, and you're not going to skip a beat, and all of those things would just go the right way. So yeah, it was one of the things that I found so strange, especially this company that values its culture. We've read about some culture stuff in these case studies and in the book, and I just think that their culture seemed to be, the reputation of their culture, I guess, was so good that you would have expected this to not even kind of be an issue, and Rena would just be the obvious choice. And she was there for 3 years. You would think that would be sufficient time to train her properly. So I agree with you. So I feel like the company has kind of failed her in this regard, and I think that that could have some ripple effects throughout some of the other departments, to be honest.
I agree. That's how I was feeling too. I didn't think that. I thought that Rena wasn't being given a chance for certain things, and that if they had expected all these things from her, why weren't they working with her to begin with if they wanted her to be, if she was the assistant to Peter, and if, with them speaking so highly of Peter, why wasn't his assistant that was just underneath him just as good as he is?
You still there, Michaela?
Yeah.
Great
Are we
points.
ready to move on?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
did it not work? Oh, stuck?
Did
No,
what not work? Are you
No,
still there?
Okay. I'm just losing connection, I guess. So did you hear that question?
I did not hear the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. So should
Okay.
Stephen have let Peter go?
Stephen have let Peter go.
I think no. I don't know. Okay, this is one of my major issues with the case. He heard that Peter was thinking of leaving like months ago, and he did nothing about it. If he's such a star and he noticed that there was room to raise his compensation, why didn't he do it? Like, I don't get it. So that just, it really bugged me. When I read that, I was like, seriously? You could have saved yourself all this trouble, kept the company culture, and been just fine. But instead, you wanted to. Maybe he likes drama. I don't know.
I agree with you again. Shocking, I guess. I'm going to bring up another broken record. I mean, I'm going to be a broken record. It speaks to the culture. I mean, if this company has such a great culture, why, when he hears months in advance that one of his stars is thinking of leaving, why is he not addressing that issue? I mean, a company with a stellar record handles those things. I mean, it is really an unfortunate circumstance. But I think by the time he actually knew what Mr. Thompson was doing, it was over. Like, there was going to be no way he could hold on to him. He just waited too long, did not show any interest until it was too late to even do anything, probably.
Yeah, I agree, and I also when he talked about like Connor said that he could either raise Peter's compensation to try to get him to stay, or he had a backup plan, which was to try to split his team and keep Rena there, which is what he did. But he decided to go with that option, but he didn't give any. Or there was no reasoning why he didn't raise Peter's compensation because at that point. Obviously, they were unprepared to hire a permanent analyst, and because he had ignored it for so long, I don't understand, or because he didn't address it when he first heard about it, I don't understand why he didn't try to keep Peter there when the time came. Because there was that's just confusing to me. There was no reasoning behind going with his backup plan as opposed to his primary plan.
Yeah, I also think I agree with you guys. I think you nailed it. That doesn't make much sense, and I think we should be talking about replacing Steven maybe. Is that an option? Rena, is she going to replace him? I'm just kidding. But yeah, I agree with you guys.
Maybe you offer Peter Stevens' job. Just saying.
Yeah, when I didn't understand why there wasn't more detail about Peter and trying to keep him, because if he's your number one and he's your only one, why aren't you doing anything, you know, in this case study? Why isn't there more about what you're trying to do to keep him? So that really um, really got me as to if he thought so highly of him, then uh, obviously he didn't really care if he left then, because if he didn't try his best to keep him, then I guess he wasn't as a star as he thought he did. Okay. So I lost that page. Um, should Stephen have talked with the recruiter to ask about that?
Could you repeat that, Michaela?
To ask about Seth.
Yeah, we didn't, I think none of us got that last question. It was kind of, I don't know.
Something about Seth?
Stephen have talked with the recruiter to ask about Seth.
Should he have done that? Was that a bad choice? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, it just asked if he should have talked with the recruiter to ask about Seth. It's not like that's all it says.
Seth's the one that was this unexpected phone call, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess the purpose of the question is saying why didn't the headhunter have this name available to him, and why did it come through this, third source or second source? So I don't know. I don't know if it was a big deal. It seemed like it was a name that was somewhat familiar, and it came from a reliable source. So, I mean, it's just an interview. I don't see a problem with doing an interview with someone that comes through kind of out of the ordinary way.
Yeah, I think maybe because, Craig, the headhunter guy or whatever, he had all the criteria that Steven wanted. And so maybe Craig did see Seth and just was like, oh no, he's not the right fit. Because we all kind of agreed that we didn't really like Seth. He was really nitpicky and stuff. So maybe Craig already saw that and kind of already eliminated him. So, but yeah, I mean, either way, I think he still should have given him an interview. But in the end, it was probably a waste of time because I don't think Seth is the right match. But so maybe Craig already saw that. Is my point.
Yeah, I think Jared, you have a great point. I think why not give him an interview? He looked like a great candidate on paper.
Yeah, I mean, at this point he's kind of desperate to find someone quickly. His boss is putting pressure on him, so I mean, yeah, I mean, I see no problem with looking at every option that becomes available.
Well, I didn't think it would hurt. I mean, if someone found someone out of the blue came your way, I would or came to me, I think I would have at least looked them up and found some information because, if they're looking, if it's, oh, lost my word. If it's somebody that, that just came out of, oh, that just popped out that it's at least something to look into for maybe the future reference or something like that. Okay. Um, does the performance at one firm guarantee high performance at another firm?
No, I don't think so. I think any of these candidates would probably do okay, but I think there is about concern about getting buy side people or getting people from regional firms instead of like as big as firms as RSH. So I don't think so, but I think these candidates have proved themselves in other ways too.
Um, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you go.
I was gonna say no. I don't think so either. I think like because of the case study talked about how important teamwork is in this company and RSH or RHS, whatever it is. Um, like what's his name, Gerald Baum, the one that we don't like. I don't, he might be like very knowledgeable in the field, but as far as working, like being able to make it perform well in the company and work well with coworkers and his superiors as well as those he has stewardship over. I mean, I think it takes more than just knowledge in the field to perform well for the company, and that's why I think Stonio is so much better than the other ones because I really think she would perform well in a team setting and be a greater benefit to the company. So it just depends on, I think, the culture of the company, like Ben talked about.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. So I think this is a really good question, and it makes me kind of double think Sonia just a little bit, but then because Sonia seemed to be at a smaller firm, if I understand it correctly, like a boutique, whatever that's supposed to mean, and but sounds like a flower, right? Oh, that's a bouquet. Never mind. Anyway, so like, but yeah, so she did awesome in her little firm or whatever, and she almost made like the double I rating and everything. Um, and that was even with resources stretched like crazy. She didn't really have her own assistant, didn't really have a junior, analyst. And so even though there's gonna be more demanded of her at RSA, she's gonna have way more resources. And so I think she's gonna learn quick and gonna be able to utilize, the junior analyst and the assistant, the first-hand help there. She's gonna be able to magnify that really great and leverage that to step up to the plate, so to speak. And yeah, so it's a little scary for her. It'll probably be a little crazy at first, but I think she's gonna be able to nail it with the help.
Yeah, I think there's no guarantee in business, right? I mean, you can come to the table thinking that you've got all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, and you're just, wrong place, wrong time, so many factors, can't find the right people to work in your business. So there's no guarantee. With Sonia, I also think that she will be extra motivated. She's seeing this as an opportunity to go from minor league baseball to the majors. Do you know what I mean? And so she really has this opportunity to come in and, really impact this very important division of this firm. And that should be some added motivation, along with what Jared and everyone else has said about her. I just think that she has the most motivation because she's coming from a smaller, more independent thing, and here she has this opportunity to get in with some of the big companies.
I agree. Every firm's going to be different, but a lot of the things that I look what I was thinking about was like motivation. You know, if you want high performance, you have to be able to um, get your workers or employees motivated into wanting like what's best. And Sonia seems like she's the type that would be motivated the most because she's going from a small business to a big firm, and the other ones are coming from, you know, these big firms just like RSH. So, but it would be different. I mean, levels would be different. It just probably be like how you would take it, um, depending on the firm, if that makes sense to anybody. um, so our last question is to discuss the types of human capital.
So, just that little PDF thing.
Yeah. Is there a specific question surrounding it, or is it just saying
It
discuss?
just says discuss. There's no question.
So I thought it was interesting. We've discussed in my previous classes human capital. And I thought the one that kind of related most to this case study was the relationship capital. So the relationship, like, again, I did not like Gerald Baum. He did not demonstrate very good relationship capital, so I don't think he'd be as much of an asset to the company that way.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's on this little chart thing. It says that's rarely portable. So yeah, trying to bring him in and fixing everyone else to meet his kind of ways would be a lot harder than already someone who's kind of already blended in. And also, I think the company-specific human capital, this one, it talks about the knowledge of the routines and the procedures and stuff like that. And it might be another plus for Rena. You know, she already knows all the culture, you know, obviously very well, and the procedures and the routines. But either way, you know, she'll be able to help whoever jumps in. So yeah, there's that.
Doesn't Stephen also say something about Tarina that if he hires someone from the outside, that he would put her in charge of something else or give her some type of leadership role somewhere else? So in essence, that makes me a little worried, because then does the new senior analyst not have a junior analyst anymore? And is that going to be an issue? Because Sonia, if she's the one that we would hire, she's not bringing anybody with her. You know, it talked about that some senior analysts would want to potentially bring their junior analyst with them, and so that's not the case. And so now I'm actually kind of worried that, you know, Stephen's over promising and potentially might under deliver, because we've talked about all these resources that are at this firm. But if he's going to move Rena into another capacity, leadership capacity, well, then Sonia might not have a junior to help her with the transition. So that could be tough, but that really has nothing to do with the human capital part.
No, that's a good point. I think that'd be bad all around if Rena left.
Yeah, so what does Stephen do? Does he say, oh, sorry, psych, the person I've hired needs a junior, so you're going to have to fill that position for the next unknown time? I mean, it puts him in a tough spot. It's another thing that you learn. You can't sit there and try to do some backroom deals with folks because you don't have complete control of what the circumstances are going to be. What the headhunter said to Stephen was, look, in the last year, there's been a lot of movement with these senior analysts, and so no one's really wanting to move. So here's your pool of just a handful. Some are well, established, and others you're going to kind of have to take this chance on. But anyway, so I think that now Stephen's in ultimately a really hard spot. And you're talking about human capital. What does that do for Rena? What does that do for Sonia if she's coming expecting this junior analyst that has some experience, and oh well, she's not there now because I promised her something else? I mean, it could be a real mess.
It's almost like he should hire two people, and then two to replace that position, and still keep that if position. He two analysts that can work together in order to um, uh, get the work done that's needed to. Thanks, Jared. So, do we have any, okay. In conclusion, kind of decided like who we want to go with, who we thought our best pick would be, but also some things that Stephen could think about, like if he picks the new analyst, what's going to happen? Where's Rena going to go? Is he going to keep his promise to her, or is he going to keep his promise if he picks Sonia to Sonia that she's going to get the analysis, junior analysis, or is everybody going to be up in the air and not know what's going on in his?
Yeah, I think that Stephen should talk with Rena and tell her straight up, hey, I'm thinking of having you being the junior analyst and then my plan is Sonia. So I would tell her that, just I feel like they're not talking clearly enough. Kind of like what Ben was saying. He's putting himself in a hard situation, and I think it's because the communication's kind of awkward. Yeah, I think he's making it more awkward than it should be. And Rena also needs to take more initiative and talk as well and say, this is where I'm coming from, because in her thoughts, she was thinking, I don't want to go to another category or industry. I love this one. So they need to talk about that and say, yeah, you're going to stay as junior, and I think she'd be fine with that, especially when she meets Sonia with her SpongeBob pins. She's going to love her.
Is that the real reason you've picked Sonia to be your hire?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's still Sonia. I wanted, I just think it's going to be the best for the company is to go with her. Yeah, she has some risk involved, but I think the upside is all there. There's just total upside with her. And like Jared just said, I think that there is going to have to be a heart-to-heart with Rena that just says, look, I may have been speaking a little bit too broad, and I need you to hang in there with us. And if she's only making, what was it, 300,000-400,000, maybe you throw her a little increase for her help, and you try to sweeten that pot a little.
I probably have to go. I have a screaming baby. Um, sorry. So I'm gonna go, but great discussion.
Yeah.
Michaela, I'll send you the link in a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks,
Sounds good.
Casey. Cassie,
Okay,
Casey.
guys. All right.
See ya. All right. Is that it?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
All right,
All
cool.
of it.
Well, awesome. Thanks, Michaela. That was great.
And Michaela, I
Thanks
think
for
we're.
working with me. It just
I'm sorry. What was that?
a lot of technical issues on my side.
It's no big deal. We managed. I think we've been putting in. I think you'll see
Yeah.
where we put the link and all of our names in set 1, group 2. Isn't that where we've put it, Jared?
Yeah, yeah. Group 2 was the one from last week.
Okay.
And then that way we can all just kind of get in there and see it. So anyway,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Yeah. Yeah.